So we'll tell you the updates that what's going to happen today as far as India and China talks are concerned. Now we're expecting the joint secretary level talks that will be taking place. This is an important meeting of the WMCC. Now, what is this WMCC? This was set up as a working mechanism for consultation and coordination on the India-China border affairs and was established in the year 2012 for border affairs coordination between India and China. This is a bilateral meet of joint secretary levels that will be conducted of both countries and is said to be taken as a further step towards de-escalation. Now, in this meeting, modalities and specifics will be discussed of how the escalation earlier had taken place on both sides. Now, as there are attempts being made for mutual consensus to disengage, the modalities for disengagement, especially from all friction zones in eastern Ladakh, is in all likelihood to be taking place in this meeting. Let me go across to Tejinder, who is joining us live this morning. First up, the purpose of this WMCC. Tejinder, if you can tell us, it was set up in the year 2012. And how exactly it has helped both India and China in the last 8 years towards the border situation?
The working mechanism for consultation and coordination on India-China, we are told that it will be holding a DG level, a joint secretary level talks via virtual conference today. This was set up in 2012 for border affairs coordination between India and China. But we have been told that this is a bilateral meet of joint secretary of both countries, and it will be a step towards the de-escalation, and will also discuss the modalities and specifics will be discussed on how to de-escalate the situation on the line of actual control. We know that this WMCC working mechanism and consultation and coordination was set up in 2012 to resolve the border disputes between India and China. We have seen that because for the past several decades, the Chinese side and the Indian side, they have not resolved the border dispute, and it has been lingering on for quite long. There have been several rounds of meetings, but no decision has been reached so far. So, in order to now that the time has come when the dispute has taken to a next level, and this meeting has become very important because now both the countries need to resolve the border dispute, and this meeting would be held virtually, wherein both the sides, the joint secretary level of both the sides, they will discuss the modalities of how to de-escalate the situation which is prevailing on the line of actual control between India and China. If you remember, just 48 hours ago, there was a marathon meeting that took place between the corps commanders of India and China, and both the sides, they agreed that there was a need to de-escalate on the situation and not to further escalate because what we witnessed last week, in which there was violence between the People's Liberation Army of China and the Indian side, in which 20 of our brave hearts, they lost their lives. So the dispute is there on the line of actual control, which China perceives to be its own territory, and the Indian side perceives it to be own territory. So there is a need to discuss the modalities and to resolve the outstanding border issue between India and China, and that is why this WMCC, the working mechanism for consultation and coordination on India-China border affairs, was set up in 2012, wherein both the sides, they have been holding bilateral meetings to discuss the outstanding border dispute. Both the sides, we are told that they will be holding a virtual meeting today, wherein they will be discussing the modalities of how to de-escalate the situation. Because given the fact that there has been several bone of contention.
I want you to stay on with us as we also listen in to External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, and important points, rather indirectly giving out what India means and its contribution to world, and this is something that needs not be forgotten. And whereas international laws are concerned, they need to be respected by one and all. Listener.
Thank you. Your Excellency Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Your Excellency Foreign Minister Wang Yi, A very good afternoon to you all, to our friends who are joining us on this occasion. We welcome this special RIC meeting of foreign ministers to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the conclusion of the Second World War, as well as the foundation of the United Nations. The victory over Nazism and fascism was achieved through sacrifices across many theaters by many countries. India made a significant contribution with 2.3 million of its citizens under arms and 14 million more participating in war production. Indian blood was shed at the battlefields of the world, from Tobruk, El Alamein and Monte Cassino to Singapore, Kohima and Borneo. We helped keep key supply chains open to both your countries, one through the Persian corridor and the other across the Himalayan hump. If Indian personnel were conferred the Order of the Red Star, the medical mission led by Dr. Kotnis was a legend in China. So tomorrow, when our military contingent marches through the Red Square, it would be an affirmation of the difference that we made. When victors met to fashion the ensuing global order, the political circumstances of that era did not give India due recognition. This historical injustice has stood uncorrected over the last 75 years, even as the world has changed. Therefore, on this momentous occasion, it is important for the world to realize both the contribution that India made and the need to rectify the past. But beyond history, international affairs must also come to terms with contemporary reality. The United Nations began with 50 members. Today it has 193. Surely its decision making cannot continue to be in denial of this fact. We, the RIC countries, have been active participants in shaping the global agenda. It is India's hope that we will also now converge on the value of reformed multilateralism. Excellencies, this special meeting reiterates our belief in the time-tested principles of international relations. But the challenge today is not just one of concepts and norms, but equally of their practice. The leading voices of the world must be exemplars in every way, respecting international law, recognizing the legitimate interests of partners, supporting multilateralism, and promoting common good are the only way to build a durable world order. I thank Russia for convening this meeting, and I look forward to our further discussions.